When Luigi Mangione walked into that Pennsylvania McDonald's, he wasn't just any suspect, he was the embodiment of America's elite gone rogue, a valedictorian, tech prodigy, and Ivy League graduate who decided to wage war on corporate America. But here is what no one is asking. How does a brilliant young mind transform into an alleged assassin? The manifesto they found isn't just a document, it's a warning sign of something far more sinister infiltrating our institutions. And why are certain media figures like Taylor Lorenz seemingly celebrating this attack? The truth might be more terrifying than anyone is willing to admit. Now, winter is coming, and so are crippling heating bills, but while others struggle with skyrocketing costs, I stay warm for pennies a day. This revolutionary portable heater has changed everything. Just plug it into any outlet and watch as it transforms cold rooms into cozy spaces instantly. It's not just efficient, it's a game changer for your wallet. And right now you can get it at 60% off plus free shipping at staywarmnow.com. Don't let the energy companies rob you blind. Take control of your comfort and your costs. Visit staywarmnow.com and experience the warmth revolution for yourself. You'll find it linked below. Also, special note, ready to level up your next news viewing experience? Become a channel member at the operative, commander, or sentinel level for exclusive member perks. Now let's get into the top news right now. Tommy Gabriel, you may remember him. We interviewed him on this very show some time ago. He came out of the closet as a MAGA supporter, and well, he took some flack for it, but he posted this picture. This is Luigi Mangione in his holding cell. Fox News Digital posting this first photo of the CEO murder suspect inside a Pennsylvania holding cell. Laura Loomer posting this just a few hours ago. We were tracking all of the social media assets of this alleged assassin, and I went to his Instagram page. I had it up on my screen, was monitoring all the things and reactions from people, and refreshed the page, gone. And this is, of course, this happens every time there's some high-profile crime that occurs. Everyone rushes to the social media accounts to see what kind of language is being talked about, what kind of posts they're making, the replies, people they're connected to. Well, Laura Loomer posted this 6 hours ago after I refreshed it. Instagram nuked the account of Luigi Mangione, the suspected alleged UnitedHealthcare CEO shooter, and she took this screen recording of all of the photos that were on his Instagram account of him. Looks like it's just a normal life, on the beach, hanging out with friends. But yeah, all the photos now completely gone. And then there was this bizarre video that was posted. Now, I can't confirm if this was actually a post by him or some kind of a dead man switch. It feels like a dead man switch that he posted this video on his YouTube channel, a cryptid, supposed pre-recorded video titled The Truth, and it was published after his arrest. It's believed that he is using a script to release the content. The assassin claims that more will be revealed, and it's just simply some kind of a countdown. If you see this, I am already arrested. And that's all it says, the truth. And it just counts down. There's nothing more than that. Now, I looked at, there were several accounts that had posted this video. Two of them got deleted immediately, but one of them was still up as of this report. Now, I'm not sure if it's the actual account of the person. People have a tendency to create these fake accounts. They put them in the person's name. I don't know what they're trying to do. Are they really trying to get new subscribers? Or I don't know the benefit of it, but this seems to be a habit. Every single time some high profile person, like Thomas Crooks, like all of a sudden there's all these YouTube accounts and social media accounts of Thomas Crooks. It's just ridiculous, but all is scheduled, whatever. We'll see what happens if there's actually any videos that are going to drop on these channels. Now, there is some context. The video is from a YouTube account that was created today, acting as Luigi by using pictures from his X account. The YouTube account name also does not match Luigi's X handle. Video was fabricated and not posted by Luigi himself. So we'll wait to see if that's in fact true. But here's something interesting. They cheer on death when it's CEOs, unborn babies, or anyone who dares think differently than them. Riley Gaines posting this 5 hours ago, calling the left a death cult. And here's Taylor Lorenz giggling 5 hours ago, saying she felt joy when Brian Thompson was shot. This is on Piers Morgan.
And he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that being murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the system.
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's being murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving health care from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something...
Have you been denied life-saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it as something joyful, that a man who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre.
Oh, yeah. Well, she is now, she's lost her job at one of the outlets. Roseanne Barr posting this, liberals, Alex Jones should be fined $1 billion for what he said about that school. Also liberals, I love the guy that shot the CEO in the back because he's fighting against fascism. Roseanne Barr, never disappointing. Here is a photograph again of the alleged shooter in question. Here's the actual video of him getting, arriving for his arraignment following his capture at the McDonald's. Apparently he worked at the McDonald's. And what's also bizarre about this whole thing is, like, people are falling in love with this guy. It's not just like Taylor Lorenz who are celebrating the fact that a CEO has met his demise at the hands of an assassin, but people are actually like falling in love with this guy. His grin, his smile. I mean, it's really bizarre, but this is the world we're in. Okay, libs of TikTok. This is, okay, speaking of Taylor Lorenz here, she reposted this meme of this guy, Colin, saying, in this house, Luigi Mangione is a hero, end of story, with a photograph of a screen grab from the HBO show The Sopranos. So, I mean, this is what she's reposting. This is the kind of sickness that Taylor Lorenz has. But Vox Media now splitting with the ex-WAPO reporter after explosive comments on UnitedHealthcare Brian Thompson's murder. So I think that joy has now slowly turned to sadness as she's realizing how stupid her comments are. Tammy Bruce, 11 hours ago, looks like they may have the suspect in the murder. According to the New York Times, of course, we do know now he is in custody. A man is being held for questioning in connection with last week's killing of health insurance executive in Midtown Manhattan. According to law enforcement officials, the man was identified based on a tip from someone who spotted him about 9:15 a.m. on Monday morning in a McDonald's restaurant in Altoona, Pennsylvania. According to the officials, the man who was detained at McDonald's showed the police the same fake New Jersey ID that the man believed the gunman presented when he checked into the hostel on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. That's according to senior officials. Slightly offensive, of course, also breaking this news, Elijah Schaefer's media outlet. Penn State University student detained in connection with UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson's murder. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is the suspected murderer in the UnitedHealthcare CEO. He said in his manifesto, these parasites had it coming. Also, something bizarre, monopoly money. This was 2 days ago. Monopoly money was discovered in the backpack that was found believed to belong to the person who executed the UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. No identification of the suspect has been made. Of course, we know that now has changed. Colin Rugg, 10 hours ago, the person of interest in the murder has been ID'd. Former Ivy League student and activist. He's been described as a tech whiz, former valedictorian, and he is an anti-capitalist 26-year-old who shared quotes online from the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. So it looks like he looked up to this guy. Imagine a society that subjects people to conditions that make them terribly unhappy, then gives them drugs to take away their unhappiness. That's a Kaczynski quote that was liked by Mangione. Also, science fiction, it is already happening to some extent in our own society. Instead of removing the conditions that make people depressed, modern society gives them antidepressant drugs. So apparently he studied at the University of Pennsylvania, valedictorian at his 2016 graduating class at the Gilman School in Baltimore. That's according to the New York Post. His X profile, is it even still active? Yes, it is still active. Here it is. Looks like his last post was on June 10th. Talking about reposting a Huberman Lab podcast about smartphones and social media, the impact on mental health. I mean, it looks like you could still go through his entire, you've got some stuff here from Peter Thiel, posting a book about the anxious generation. Interesting. Posting a lot of stuff here in his X profile. So at least X hasn't taken his profile down, but Facebook, Instagram, removing his profile down the memory hole it goes. Another interesting element here to this whole story, his cousin, the cousin of Luigi Mangione, the Ivy League activist who's suspected of being the UnitedHealthcare CEO shooter, is a Maryland state delegate named Nino Mangione. So he has relatives in politics. His cousin apparently is a Republican. Okay, we've got some news clips here. Let's jump into some of these. I know we've got some repeated stuff here later, but let's take a look at this first one.
The person at the McDonald's, were they buying food? What were they doing at that exact moment?
He was an employee at the McDonald's.
Right. But what was the suspect doing?
He was sitting there reading.
So he was reading during the apprehension, and he was, in fact, an employee of the McDonald's where he was arrested. Okay, so should we play this video about the... No, we don't need to play that. That's 2 days old. Here's more from the NYPD.
On his person. Earlier this morning in Altoona, Pennsylvania, members of the Altoona Police Department arrested Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old male, on firearms charges. At this time, he is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen targeted murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of UnitedHealthcare, last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan. The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police. Responding officers questioned the suspect, who was acting suspiciously and was carrying multiple fraudulent IDs as well as a U.S. passport. Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset. NYPD detectives are en route to Pennsylvania as we seek to interview the subject further. This apprehension is thanks to the tireless work of the greatest detectives in the world, and of course, the strong relationships we have with our local law enforcement partners. On every level, local, state, and federal, we all serve the same public safety mission. And this case, which captured the attention of an entire nation, is another example of how connected we are and how important it is to work together, share.
I should give some credit to all the folks on X who were diligent in doing a lot of citizen journalism and digging into all of the data online. X is a powerful, powerful community when crowdsourcing becomes the means to get to the bottom of things, because our elected officials just are too way down in bureaucracy, and citizen journalism really gets it done. This is what basically I think is what did him in. Lee writes, like a true Italian, Luigi Mangione's fatal error as an assassin was giving himself away by stopping to flirt with the cashier at the cafe before going to work, pulling his mask down and smiling to flirt. And it's this picture that has all these weirdos online falling in love with this guy. I mean, they're just falling in love with him. He was a smart kid, though. Sadly, they say here an AI expert who decides to K-puff the CEO of a healthcare company that their AI program was denying 90% of insurance claims. And this is his speech. Here's a portion of his speech.
Valedictorian, and please welcome me and join in welcoming to the podium, Luigi Nicholas Mangione. Luigi.
Throwing it all away. For what?
Well set. Congratulations. Thank you.
Class of 16.
Headmaster Smythe, Mr. Hubeck, members of the Board of Trustees, family, friends, faculty, and fellow students.
Yeah, throwing it all away. I'm sure he was radicalized at the universities, because that's what happens when kids go off to these universities. Shadow of Ezra, 10 hours ago, the murder suspect linked to the UnitedHealthcare CEO identified. Radical anti-capitalist climate activist, former Ivy League student who idolized Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. Authorities discovered he was carrying a manifesto condemning the healthcare industry for prioritizing profits over people, accompanied by calls for violence.
New York Times reporting he is officially calling the man that was picked up at McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, a, quote, suspect in the murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. AP has confirmed, per their sources, that writings critical of the insurance industry were found in the possession of the person being questioned. And while we have not yet confirmed this, the New York Times, and again, this is the New York Times reporting that the suspect's name is Luigi Mangione, 26 years old. According to the NYPD, the suspect traveled from Atlanta to New York City and then took a bus out of town and was the suspect that's in custody now. We don't know for sure if it's the same person as is wanted in the murder of Brian Thompson, but the suspect was picked up at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. More on this.
More pictures surfacing online. And this appears to be I believe this is his X account. And a lot of people are drawing attention to this center photograph of this X-ray. And appears to be 4 pins in somebody's back. Some surgical operation that occurred. I'm not sure if it's him. Maybe he was personally denied some care and had an axe to grind. Of course, I initially believed that this was an inside job. I believe that it was somebody that wanted to snuff out the CEO who was related to the DOJ investigation, insider trading that we had reported on. But in fact, turns out it was somebody who was affected allegedly by the healthcare industry and radicalized by the Ivy League institutions. Ted Cruz writing this 9 hours ago, leftism is a mental disease. The suspected murderer, an Ivy League graduate, subscribed to anti-capitalist and climate change causes. According to law enforcement, the murderer has been widely celebrated by leftists online. It's tragic and sick. This is Luigi, the person of interest in the execution of Brian Thompson, apparently a bright student. And Behezy tweets, George says, I have a strange feeling this is yet another MK Ultra experiment by the CIA. Only time will tell. And I believe we have some reaction here. Okay, so this is Kylie Jane Kramer pointing this out. The person of interest for the murder of United Health, Brian Thompson, is Luigi Mangione. Okay, this is really bizarre. Luigi was followed by Taylor Lorenz. Okay? Taylor Lorenz was signaling the next healthcare target immediately after Brian Thompson was gunned down in New York City. Taylor needs to be immediately investigated by the FBI, New York Police, NYPD News. Somebody was helping Luigi Mangione. He was speaking to someone on a burner cell phone around the time of the shooting. The question being asked, could it have been Taylor Lorenz? Now, I don't know, but it's alleged that Taylor Lorenz was actually following him on X before the shooting. Now, I'm not saying there is a connection here, but people are drawing lines, and they have a lot of questions. Taylor Lorenz posted this after Brian Thompson's death, and Blue Cross will no longer cover anesthesia. Yeah, and people are saying maybe there's a connection. She was blocked a long time ago. Great investigative work. You might be onto something. She went on TMZ and doubled down on the CEO. This is all sketchy. I mean, if anything, she's just a cheerleader for this guy. But the fact that she was following him is pretty suspect. The suspect of the shooting in UnitedHealthcare, CEO Brian Thompson, wrote, "Violence is necessary," in an Amazon review. I mean, he actually went on Amazon and reviewed the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski's manifesto and wrote that violence is necessary. Violence, my friends, is never necessary. Here is the photograph of the fake ID and the gun that was found on him at the time. Some are saying it's 3D printed. That does not look like a 3D printed weapon to me. But I guess he was going by the name of Mark Rosario in his fake ID. But it's really sad. A smart kid just going down. Here it is. Okay, so Bricksuit wrote this. This is what caught my attention. Luigi Mangione's X account contains a banner image that appears to be an X-ray of a surgically repaired lower back. Could this be part of his motive in the attack and murder? We will hopefully have some more answers. Here is, I believe we have some more on this. Let's take a look.
Arrested earlier this morning in Altoona, Pennsylvania, members of the Altoona Police Department arrested Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old male, on firearms charges.
Yeah, we saw that already. The person of interest was taken into custody. Anti-capitalist climate change activist, former Ivy League student. On his Goodreads account, he liked quotes from the Unabomber. How bizarre. But it looks like that may be one of his inspirations. I believe we have a tweet here from Roger Stone. Where is that tweet from Roger Stone? I want to find it. We could dig a little deeper. Sometimes these bookmark tweets don't always show up. But I remember Roger Stone had some interesting insight into it. And I know you guys don't like it when I'm scrolling here because I try to organize these things for you guys. But sometimes it just doesn't work out the way I always wanted. Okay, so this is 9 hours ago. Suspect in the shooting, highly educated with an MSc in Comp Sci from Penn. Jacked has an X account. Retweets Andrew Huberman and Mike Benz. Very bizarre and very confusing. Retweeting Mike Benz. I mean, Mike Benz is highly critical of the surveillance state. So why he's doing that, I don't know. But at least he's in custody, and we will have answers very, very soon. I'm still trying to find that post from Roger Stone. Okay, this is the part about the resume. Valedictorian in high school, degrees in engineering, possessed a ghost gun, assembled a 3D printer, and a manifesto that criticized health insurance companies. Ted Cruz, of course, weighing in as well. But that's what we got so far, and we're going to continue to track this. And the capture of this Ivy League assassin isn't just a crime story, it's a wake-up call for America. When our most prestigious institutions are producing anti-capitalist revolutionaries instead of innovators, we have to ask, what's really happening in these ivory towers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Are our universities now breeding grounds for radical ideology? And if so, who's really pulling the strings? And Patriots, while you're fighting back against this cultural madness, show your support with our new Mega Avengers collection at the Next News merch shop. Our limited edition series is making waves across the country, so head to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and gear up with the truth.